Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Mature Gamer, and today we're going to talk about Flight School 101. A little bit about flying, the basics, and where we start, we'll start right here at the hangar services ASAP terminal. Before we begin, shout out to the subscriber who said, hey, they have some trouble with the Drake. Wanted to know a little bit. He didn't even know about the VTOL and such, so this is why I made that video. So let's begin. So first things first, we're gonna go all the way down. You have to, for your Mobi glass, vehicles. Whatever vehicles you have stored in whatever your location will show up here. I have a few here. So I want to fly my Prospector. So here is where you can do changes to things like jump module, cooler, power plant, shield generators, quantum drive. If you want to swap out guns or see what they are, tells you the size, the grade. And if you have like a prospector or a salvager, see, you have, for instance, this is my mining laser and my modules. Here you can swap them out and whatever you have available. Avionics for radars and also for flight blades whenever they become a thing. And flare items are what it is, a flare item. You can buy them up the Play Store, or there's a few that you can buy in game. But this is where you do loadouts. If you want to change out components and such, this is where you will do it right here. And before that as well, in the options menu. So let's go into in-game settings. Yes. So something to really is right here. So default flight automatic slowdown on. This is what slows you down whenever you switch from SEM navigation mode or you put your landing gear down. You could turn that off, but if you're brand new, you want to leave that, make sure it's on. Decoupled mode. This is what, when you stop, it's going to try to stop, make your vehicle stop. In space, there is no gravity, so technically there's nothing pushing back on it. So if you're flying and you let go of the pedal in space, you will just keep drifting. This is going to prevent that. And later on, as you get better, you won't want to turn that off. And then you have gravity compensation. That's again the same thing. Wind compensation. It'll try to keep you steady. G-safe on. So it keeps us from trying to keep you from plastic be able to pass out. Boost disables G-safe. That way you can boost to, to a higher level, even if you pass out. The cruise mode. This is a cruise control, just like you're in a car. If you want to toggle that on and off, right here as a default. The space brake. This actually, I like that one. I like when I hit the space brake. I boost when I'm flying. Speed limiter. You can set a limit to default speed limiter. You can set a limit if you how fast you want. I usually keep that off. Proximity assist. Sometimes I like to keep that on when I'm in asteroids. It'll warn you there's something close by. And when it comes to the HUD, I would toggle all these on. Advance on, and I'll show you in a little bit. It's usually off by default, but you want to keep those on. You get more things to know what's going on. And yeah, you want to keep the lights enabled. You want to turn that on and off whenever you want to. All right. All of that will come into play when I bring in my vehicle. Prospector. This is my baby. Yeah. Look at that beautiful, beautiful gem. All right. So let's go in the cockpit and we'll go through some more things. There we go. All righty. And we're in. So every cockpit is different to some extent. So if you hold F, you can kind of look around. There are some things that were buttons, like if you want to be more immersed. Like up here, if you want to go into, for instance, I could power off the MFD. The engine is still on, but this just powered off the MFD. The MFD is a display, and I could turn it back on. See? There's a button here to open the exterior. There's no need for that. Multi-cargo, that's for mining. I could turn on and off the engines from right here. So some of the cockpits have little things like that, which are kind of nice. MFDs. Okay, so these are just the displays. And turning the HUD display to the advanced, little things like this right here. I tell you, I know how I have 80% high, 94% hydrogen fuel, 85% quantum fuel. It gives you a better display on your speed. And then this is how much thrusters before it gets cooled down you have. My decoys and noise. This is the 6 degree of freedom here. This is the G-force. How many G-force I'm pulling as I fly. Comes in handy to know when you're flying a really fast ship. And it's easier to know which mode I'm on. Right now I'm on gun mode. Which means I could fire my guns. Oh, if I were to turn them on. I know I have guns on me. Okay, doesn't want to. I am playing Star Citizen after all. Stupid game. Okay. All right. Anyways, so these ones you can change to whatever you want. Kind of display how you want them. You could also do things like turn off your engines, turn it back on from up here by holding F. Turn on engine, shields, increase shield power, radars. I could increase or decrease the radar intensity. And switching between modes, holding B. So this is a nav mode. As you can see right here. NAV. I can quantum travel on nav mode. It tells you right here. See? And then right here, I'm on coupled mode. ESP that we're talking about is toggled on. And my lights are on. So for instance, all those flight in the options are right here. See, I could toggle that off so it doesn't say on. I could turn it on and off from right here. I could turn on cruise mode on and off from right here. And so on. So even if you want to experiment, you can. Right here on the configurations. On the gunnery part, gimbals locked. It means that your guns are locked to where you're facing. If they are on the gimbals, what that means is they can move slightly, and then it turns to a point before your actual face moves on there. So it can give you a little extra ability to hit if you're on a slower vehicle. If you're on a fast one like an Arrow, most people like it to have it locked. Show precision lines. What's a pretty line? The lag pipes, lag pips, show lag pips. I don't like that one. Fade pips. I don't like the fact that the pips, if you're not firing, they disappear. I like to see them at all times. Enable individual pips. If you have multiple guns, if you turn this one on, it'll give you a little like a reticle for each one, so you're be more accurate with your shots. Magnify symbology. It just magnifies everything. Staggered fighting. firing. This is good for slower firing cannons. If you're not very good, it'll do one at a time. But if you have something like repeaters, I won't recommend it. And the HUD. This is the stuff that we turned on. If I were to turn all these, oh, come on, where is it? Hold on. If I were to turn all these off, as you can see, it goes into, this is the simple mode. I don't like it. See, I really don't. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like this. That's the way I think this is a cleaner, better way to seeing it. That's why, and you have a lot more information in the screen, and it's easier to read. Okay, I think everybody knows that you have to call the hanger, which is left Alt N. But there's other ways to do it. Let's say you're hitting Alt N, left Alt N, and it's not working because you're playing Star Citizen. Well, the MFDs are here to help you out. If we scroll here, where it says communications, or at the closest station, wherever you're on the station, see the first one right here? That also, by clicking this one, it does the same thing. Another trick, F11. Go to your friends, and there you go. Just like in Facebook, your very first friend is going to be your station. And you could also call it from right here. So you have 3 different ways to try and call. Pretty simple. So let's go out in space and lift off. If you're kind of new, you might want to just don't worry too much about racing the hand. Everything goes slow until you have some breathing room. All right, so we are in nav mode. A couple of things, obviously. When you see this little toggle right here, it means your landing gears are down. Simple click of N will raise them, and now you're able to go faster. And switching between, like I said, holding B between nav mode and SCM mode, which is the gun mode, brings up shields, but it slows your speed. So let's go and talk a little bit about coupled mode. Decoupled. So now I am decoupled. See how the CPD is not there no more? So laws of physics says when an object's in movement, it'll stay in movement until an opposing force hits it. So in space, if there's no opposing force, then technically I would just keep going. See? There's nothing to stop me. Obviously, if I crash into the station, that's an opposing force. But decoupled mode is kind of like a more realistic approach to space. And you see this little thing right here. Well, this is where even if I turn here, this is where I'm still going to because I'm in space. Unless I apply a force, for instance, taking it, now I'm applying force to it. So now it changes my direction. If I were to, and you do this by going up and down is alt space and control, and then the strafing does left and right. So this gives you much more. Like for instance, see how that is over there? It doesn't matter if I turn around. As you can see, I'm going backwards and it tells me right here. So I'm facing that way, but I'm going the other way because I'm decoupled and we're doing the laws of physics here until I apply some different force, whether it be thrusters or so on. Now in coupled mode, See, in couple mode is different. It always tries to zero me out. So if I go forward and I let go, it's going to try to stop me because I'm not applying. I constantly have to apply thrust at all times to keep moving, because it's always going to try and keep me to zero or to whatever I'm holding. So if I'm right here, it's gonna keep me right here. But the second I let go of it, there's nothing. So that's kind of like flying for beginners, coupled mode is. And then there's one thing that a subscriber mentioned, is talking about VTOL. Oh yeah. See that right there? So some ships have vertical thrusters. So what this does is it changes the direction or the thrust. So this one, direction of the thrust is forward, so I go forward. But because it's changing it, sure, I can still go forward, but you could even see I'm a much slower pace. But if I were to put power into vertical, see, now I'm actually climbing at a vastly higher rate and also descending as well. So this is for takeoffs, or even if you were to hot drop into a zone, you could, and you're just going really fast. You're like, oh no, I know, oh, this is a super, and then okay, I'm landing, boom. And then as I'm landing, I'm putting pressure because of the gravity. And then so that's technically the reason why some planets have atmosphere that will drag you down and so on, like the gravity. And that's what you use to compensate. So that's for more like advanced flying and landing. I do like VTOL, especially when, let's say I'm going in to land at Hangar Bay. I'm like, okay, I see the little icon, the thinking. Okay, I have my landing gears on. I'm right here. Boom. I turn on the VTOL. I'm gonna go down a lot. I'm gonna land a lot faster. And you see where I put that little circle? I knew that was going to land because that's where I put the circle on. If I didn't do the VTOL, I could do the same thing. It's just the forward motion would be faster, but the downward motion wouldn't be faster. So still get the same result, but I have to slow down a little more because I'm going forward faster. Takeoffs are a lot faster in VTOL as well because the thrusters are vertical. And then I release it and I'm going forward. It's supposed to be a new flight model, supposed to kind of change how you use VTOL. But we'll see. But I like it. Always have. But I'm kind of like a nerd in that regards as well. But that's pretty much the basics of it. When it comes to decoupled mode, so let's go a little bit of decoupled mode. So decoupled mode it can be a little scary. I will say this. It does. First of all, you need to keep track of where your direction is at all times. So that's one of the things. So okay, see how that, because I'm on SEM mode, it's not as bad, but once you're in decoupled mode on nav mode, it can get a little tricky. It's always about keeping track of where things are or where your direction of movement is. But once you kind of like get it dialed in, for instance, if I apply some forward thrust, there we go. Let's say I'm going to 106, right? I'm like, you know what? I want to go. This This is where I want to land. Right now, I'm going to be there. I'm going to get there. Something you can't do when you're coupled. Let me change. See, it was going to go straight there. So what does that mean? Okay, well, let's say I want to go into a pad. You could be like, oh, okay, well, there's a pad, right? This is where you get people doing the cool, I guess, landing tricks. Let me center myself a little bit. There we go. Let me bring my altitude up. Messing around too much. Okay, there it is. All right, so let's see. So decoupled. So for instance, let's say, let me go up a little higher. Say, okay, you know what? And you do have a space brake, by the way. It's like an e-brake. So you know what? I want to go. You could essentially tell it where to go. And this is where I'm going to go. Once you get really good at it, you could I'm going about 27. I could slow down just a little bit, about 18. And now that I see where it is, I don't have to look at it anymore. I know where he's going to land. Okay. But you guys get the drift. But that's one of the things you can do in decoupled mode. I've been kind of slacking on decoupled modes because I just been doing a lot of industrial work, but that's little things you can do. But that's just pretty much the basics of flying. I will say this as you're going to, let's say, different planets. Check how fast you're descending, for instance, because that's something that you have to kind of get. Some moons don't have any atmosphere, so it's the same as flying in outer space. There's nothing dragging you down, versus, let's say, going to Hurston, which has a big atmosphere, which slows you down more. So those are the things that you pick up as you're flying in different areas. But that's kind of like the basics of flying 101. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. You want to add something more to it, I will. And see you in the next one. Peace out.